What is going on? The catch. Fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope everyone out there had a great Sunday. I hope you guys racked up some fantasy victories in what was another rough week of fantasy football right before the most important, well, one of the most important weeks of fantasy football going into week 15 when the fantasy playoffs will begin for a majority of us. So, a lot on the line here in this past week. We've got Sunday night football wrapping up between the Cowboys and the Eagles. Looks like the Cowboys will be pulling out that victory. And then, of course, tomorrow we still have two games left. Double header on Monday Night Football this week. So we'll get the Titans and Dolphins as well as the Giants and the Packers. So still plenty of fantasy implications left between those two games. But for the most part, you guys may know how things are looking for your respective fantasy teams. So let me know how things are looking. Let me know if you guys made it into the playoffs this season. If you guys are maybe going to make it, maybe not. Let me know who you guys have left against you or who you have left in your lineup that you need to come through. Luckily, there are some good players in both games tomorrow, so there's a chance, and there's also a chance that you might have some points against you. But nonetheless, outside of that, you guys know what we're here for. Anything that you guys need, any fantasy questions that you guys have, starts, sits, maybe last minute waiver wires, whatever it may be, heading into Monday Night Football of Week 14. And of course, anything that you guys need heading into Week 15 of the fantasy season. I'm here to help you guys the best I can. So today, I don't know. There were plenty of fantasy points scored, but there was also disappointment today. And of course, just like this entire season has been more injuries. I mean, I truly don't know if there's been a worse year for injuries like in fantasy ever. But let's start with Justin Herbert. Looks like he has actually been diagnosed. So a fractured right index finger. This is very, very serious. Like this could literally keep Justin Herbert out of the entire rest of the season. So, man, that's not good, obviously, for Keenan Allen. Oh, Gerald Everett, Josh Palmer coming back. Austin Eckler scored today. Had a big game, 100 yards from scrimmage. It's just not good. I mean, I don't know exactly what the timetable is going to be. We probably won't know till a little bit later in the week, potentially. I feel like with fingers, it can always be, I don't know, it can be all over the place. But I had read things today that he might not play the rest of the season. We'll find out. They're on the road, headed to Vegas this week. And that is a Thursday night matchup. So we definitely want to keep an eye on that. Not just if you own Justin Herbert, but seriously, if you own just about any other Chargers players. I mean, I think Austin Eckler would probably be okay against Vegas, Buffalo, and Denver again the next 3 weeks. I think you can have confidence in him. And, these are good matchups for Keenan Allen, but obviously his ceiling gets much, much lower. So, see what happens. All right, in that same matchup, we also had Josh Jacobs suffer a knee injury. He did get you at least 7 fantasy points before he left, but obviously that was not good. And once again, a short week for the Raiders, so we'll have to see what happens there, but we don't have a ton of information. We'll kind of get caught up to speed probably by tomorrow on that situation, but not good there. Nico Collins, first catch of the game, suffered a calf injury the week after Tank Dell went to IR. So, and Dalton Schultz is still out. This Texans pass catching room does not look nearly as scary. And on top of that, CJ Stroud is now in concussion protocol. So, disaster of a day for the Texans offense. Hopefully you guys didn't have to start CJ Stroud today, but just not a good matchup. And it definitely showed today. And I mean, there are a lot of drop balls by Texans receivers today, but man, this is tough. And certainly something that we're going to have to pay attention to moving forward. And then there's the big one, obviously, Justin Jefferson. I mean, what do we even do here? We think we have him back, 3 targets, 2 receptions, 27 receiving yards, 4.7 fantasy points. Josh Dobbs, just one of the most brutal throws ever. Literally leads Justin Jefferson to the hospital. It's a chest injury, internal chest injury. According to Kevin O'Connell, they are optimistic about this, but I don't know. An internal chest injury does not sound very promising to me. And even if JJ is like able to play, are we really going to be confident starting him moving forward? Nick Mullins played in this game. I don't know. This game ended 3-0. So do I feel good about the Vikings right now? No. Am I sorry if you started Justin Jefferson this week? Abso-freaking-lutely. Just ugly. Just an ugly week. Like, I don't know. Just week after week this season, things have just gotten uglier and uglier. I mean, if we go into this coming week without CJ Stroud or Justin Herbert, it's like, man, like how many hits are we going to take? But at least we have Joe Flacco to watch at the end of the day. All right, so let me know what you guys need. Week 14 Monday night matchups, week 15, whatever it may be, and we'll kind of just start going through some fantasy Q&A. And yeah, in terms of anything else that happened today, I mean, that's basically the big news. So, I mean, we had, no, there's other stuff we could touch on to start, but at least the Niners look good. At least Lamar Jackson look good. The Cowboys look good. Like DJ Moore, a good start. Drake London, a good start. But man, it just a rough week. Like I felt like there wasn't a lot of over the top play out of players, and just a lot of disappointment. Like a lot of just like okay stat lines, but I don't know, for week 14, not incredibly exciting. How about Trevor Lawrence with 26 fantasy points though? 3 touchdowns. He did have 3 interceptions, but man, I was really surprised to see him play so well. I thought that'd be a little bit of a rougher go for T-Law, but it is what it is. If you guys started him, congrats, because I was not confident in starting him going into the week. So I told a lot of you guys I did not feel good about him. So hopefully I didn't hurt you guys. But anyways, we'll break down whatever else happened this week as we chat and talk some fantasy football tonight. All right, Smokey says I sat Brees. Yeah, I didn't feel very good about Brees this week, and he showed up. And I didn't feel great about Garrett Wilson either. But we kind of talked about this either last night or Friday night, right? Like, at least if Zach Wilson looks okay, and he definitely looked okay today, we're going to know what to expect out of this offense on a week-to-week basis, barring any injury. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, they get Miami, Washington, and Cleveland. I think Brees Hall as well as Garrett Wilson can be started. I was a little bit more nervous with Brees Hall, like being questionable all week. And then, I don't know, I just didn't feel great about him. But yeah, 26.6 fantasy points, 86 receiving yards off of 8 catches, a touchdown, 40 yards on the ground. Yeah, I mean, I think that Garrett Wilson as well as Brees can be started moving forward. What's up, Godfather? Good to see you, man. Up 23, I have Love left. He has Tyreek. Hoping I can hold on, wrap up a top 2 seed. Yeah, I think he'll be good. I think Jordan Love will probably, already up 23. So, yeah, I think he'll probably be okay. But Tyreek against you, I mean, you never know. Down 9 points, I have Love in Green Bay. He has Hopkins. I think he'll be okay. Yeah, I feel okay in that circumstance. It might be a little close, but I think he'll come through. What's up, J-Dubs? Good to see you. Ghost Hunter says, me coming into today, boy, am I glad I'm starting JJ and Hawkins. I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong. Yeah, we'll move on. Have Herbert and Stroud out. Need some QB pickups and Superflex. Let me know who's available for you. Is it our Superflex league? Logan, I may be looking ahead too much, but I'm in playoffs. Nervous about starting Purdy against the Cardinals because it may just be the McCaffrey show. I mean, I think you can start Purdy on a week-to-week basis. You know, there's been plenty of weeks this year where we've gotten the McCaffrey show and Purdy's been fine. So I think you can continue to roll with Brock Purdy and feel just fine. I mean, it's a QB7 in fantasy. You know, it's Arizona, Baltimore, Washington these next 3 weeks. Wow, Washington in the playoffs, our fantasy championship is just like not even fair. You know, this is a road game, so usually that kind of helps these things out. But yeah, I mean, McCaffrey 48.7 fantasy points the last time they played the Cardinals with 4 total touchdowns. So, but I think he'll be okay. I think Purdy will be a solid start for you. Just don't forget, I mean, this Cardinals run defense has been really bad, but this Cardinals pass defense has also been really bad. So, Sleepy, what's going on, man? Who would be a better start next week? Tua or Fields? Tough one. Yeah, you know, it is tough. And I don't know. The Dolphins get the Jets at home. The Jets looked fine today defensively, but what version of the Texans did we really get today? Hard to say. I mean, I don't know. I think you can always start Tua. That's really been my answer all season long. Is like if you own Tua, like the upside is just way too good to ignore. On the other hand, the Bears are on the road going up against the Browns, whose defense has been really up and down this year. But um, I think I like Tua a bit more at home. You know, divisional game that they're going to want to do whatever they can to win. Jets defense been very up and down. I'll go Tua. I'll go Tua between the two. Joe Flacco and Easton Stick season officially starts today. Probably Fields over Tua. It's tough. Yeah, it's maybe we'll see how Tua looks tomorrow, and maybe that'll push you in one direction or the other. I had to start Stroud today. I started him in one league, I believe. We never start JJ again. Simple. Never, ever again. Dobbs with the hospital ball. I know. Can Carr just genuinely sit out at this point? Man is risking long-term health. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of my thoughts going into the game when he looked at his specific injury and everything. But, I mean, that's why these guys get paid what they get paid, right? He did throw 2 touchdowns today and somehow only had 11 fantasy points. So, you know, honestly, at this point in the season, I'd rather watch Jameis Winston play. But what are we going to do? I mean, that division is continuing to be close and close. So right now the Bucks are at the top of it, right? So I honestly at this point I'd like to watch the Bucks in the playoffs because like they're going to lose the first round, but at least you know Baker's just going to like sling it around and do Baker things, and at least it'll be entertaining even if like they're losing. So Mike Evans, a big bummer today. Jeez. As soon as Justin Jefferson got hurt, I dropped Josh Dobbs. His run is over. Yeah, I started Josh Dobbs in the Catch Superflex League over Trevor Lawrence. I'm down 18 points. I have Chig, Kraft on waivers. I have Packers defense. How are my odds? They're probably not great. I feel better about Kraft than I do Chig. I mean, has Chig and Conquo done anything lately? I mean, I know he's, I don't know. They had 9.4 points last week. Okay. 8.5 the week before. Okay. I mean, I guess he has. I mean, I don't know. I feel better about Kraft for some reason, but either way, I think your odds, because I mean, like you're kind of looking at Kraft or Chig getting you like 8-9 points at most, and then the Packers defense making up for the rest of that. I mean, listen, this Giants team is definitely not great, and this Packers defense is just fine, but they haven't been great from a fantasy perspective. And the Giants have a little bit of offensive firepower, believe it or not. So I wouldn't feel crazy confident, unfortunately, Alex. Can't wait to watch Joe Flacco, Easton Stick play QB this year. I mean, we've gotten some decent backup quarterback play this year. Packers shut down DeVito and Barkley. I mean, hopefully for you. Eddie needs 22.4 points from A-Chain to win. How we feeling? It can definitely happen, but a lot's gonna have to go your way. But it can. I mean, the way A-Chain's utilized, it can happen. Joe Flacco, top of my waiver wire ad. Let's go. I mean, I talked about it, past 2 nights. Like, Joe Flacco might actually be a good streaming option the way that the Jags defenses look lately. How's the injury report looking for the Packers defense? Any big names out? Not that I'm aware of. Thoughts on Keenan Allen going forward with Herbert potentially out? Yeah, I mean, so it hurts. Like, his ceiling is lowered, but it kind of goes back to like Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, players we've seen this year lose that kind of top tier quarterback. It doesn't mean that they're completely irrelevant, but their ceiling is just lower, right? Like, these are still players that you can start, but like, are you going to be really confident in them getting you like wide receiver 1, maybe even wide receiver 2 numbers? Probably not. But you can definitely still start Keenan Allen. It's just those 30-point games are not going to happen. Finally, the London breakout game we needed. Yeah, so we talked about Drake London last couple of streams and love the matchup for him. But he'll probably have like 3 points next week. What's going on, Daniel? Bet yeah, I know the new tight end on waiver wire will be Easton Stick or Mitch Trubisky. Probably Trubisky. Thoughts on how Derrick Henry is going to do tomorrow? I don't expect a massive ceiling out of Henry tomorrow. It's a road game. This Dolphins defenses look good as of late. But he's Derrick Henry. I'm not expecting a ton of points out of him, but probably a decent stat line. Clinched by with another person losing, up 19. He has A-Chain left. Freiermuth is tight end. Don't feel confident about him. Should I look to Hunter Henry or any other tight end ideas? I mean, here's the thing. If you're looking at guys like Freiermuth or Hunter Henry, like, there's not going to be any consistency there. They're just, I know Hunter Henry had the 2 touchdowns. I mean, he looked good at times early in the season. I mean, he was like the tight end 1 like the first 2 games and like a top 5 tight end through the first month of fantasy. But yeah, I mean, he is still technically going into this week a top 12 tight end, like before the 2 touchdown game, which just goes to show how awful the position has. I mean, it's actually been a pretty good year for tight ends, but still, it just goes to show how bad it is from a fantasy perspective. I mean, listen, he had 3 targets, 3 receptions, 40 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, they get Kansas City next week at home. You can probably roll with Hunter Henry if you want, but yeah, when we're comparing tight ends outside of the elite tier, it's just like the up and down inconsistency, the touchdown dependence is very relevant. Freiermuth gets the Colts. You could really flip a coin between the two, but I think they're probably as good as any other player that's out there for you. Can I confidently start Chase and Amon-Ra next week? You can definitely, if you guys own Amon-Ra St. Brown, yes, you can continue to roll with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, do not worry about him whatsoever. This Bears defense has actually been pretty good lately. That showed today. Yeah, not a big game for Amon-Ra whatsoever. Chase, on the other hand, like, you can definitely still start him. It's a good matchup against the Vikings for sure. So, yeah, I don't have any problem starting Chase. I mean, I know today was definitely frustrating, but I think you can continue to roll with him. Jake Browning has looked good the last 2 weeks. Like, you could have started Jake Browning the last 2 weeks and won your fantasy matchups. He's at 24 more fantasy points. So I think Chase is fine next week. It's a home game. I think Chase is okay, but Amon-Ra definitely. Is Cup back to a must start? Yeah. And I mean, just the way that most people's seasons have gone, like, he's probably a flex option, maybe a wide receiver 2 option for you. So yeah, for sure. I mean, as long as staph infection is healthy, yeah, keep rolling with them. And I told you guys, I kind of like Cup going into this week. I don't know why. I mean, I do know why. I talked about it Friday. Like, this Rams team is kind of quietly becoming a playoff worthy team, and expected points in that game, and we got them. Then I started to get less confident because the weather wasn't looking good. But yeah, Cup looked good. Josiah, what's up? Would you consider adding Gibson or keeping Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I'd consider Gibson. I tried to speak the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing into existence. It didn't happen. He had 11 touches for 39 yards on the ground, 4 targets, 2 receptions. McKinnon had just 4 touches, 3 targets, 3 receptions, but he scored the touchdown. So really, Clyde Edwards-Helaire got more volume. And then we don't even know, like, Pacheco is not going to go on IR is the report. Pacheco could be back at any point. We don't really know. So I might just go Gibson. I mean, the other thing that happened with the Chiefs running backs today is, like, you kind of got game scripted out because Buffalo was ahead. So, yeah, we don't have a real answer on what's going on with Brian Robinson as Washington's on bye week this week. But I will say Washington gets the Rams, the Jets, the Niners, and the Rams and Jets games are on the road. So they don't really have a great schedule. Bench Cup this week, my happy early because JJ was back. Tough. Yeah, I would get McKinnon out of those 3. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jay does. McKinnon has the most touchdown upside. Is this shaping up to be the worst fantasy season of all time for injuries? I mean, it's hard to say. It's the worst that I remember. And it's specifically the worst for quarterbacks. Like, if Herbert misses next week, that's 8 starting quarterbacks out for the season. I feel like Stroud's going to find a way to play, but, like, then we're looking at 9, which is, like, huge. So, and we still have 2 games left for the week, so who knows? But yeah, it's been rough. I mean, like, when we had, like, the COVID designations, that was really tough. I think the first year I started the channel was when that was really heavy, and that was tough combined with injuries. But yeah, just strictly injuries. The worst that I remember. Garrett Wilson, a must start. It depends on your roster, but definitely a player that we can start moving forward as long as Zach Wilson's starting. Because we know what we're gonna get, Moody or Elliott rest of the season? I'll go Elliott. Lions are in trouble. The Broncos winning AFC West. Yeah, I've been talking about the Broncos for weeks now. Like, I think this team is going to really make the playoffs. So, let me pull it up here. NFL playoff picture. Because things are all over the place. So, hold on. This is loading. Okay. Ravens number 1 in the AFC. You have the Dolphins, Chiefs, Jags, all at the top of their division, right? Ravens and Dolphins have the same amount of losses. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure this is up to date. Okay, it is. Browns, Steelers, Colts are the wild card spots for the AFC. So on the bubble, you got the Texans, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Bills. And technically, you still have the Chargers, Raiders, Jets, and Titans, believe it or not. Quite frankly, I don't really mind watching the Colts. I don't really mind watching the Browns, Steelers, or Colts get in, I guess. But yeah, I'd rather see the Texans as long as at least Stroud is healthy. Like at least that's entertaining. Get in. I'd like to see the Broncos get in. I still would. I don't know. I like this Broncos team. And I mean I wouldn't even mind seeing the Bengals get in. Like at least you have Chase and Mixon and Higgins. But I'd like to see the Bills make it. Like I don't think this Bills team is that great, but they can win games. Like they proved that today, right? They can still win games. They still have a lot of exciting players. Josh Allen, a great quarterback, super entertaining quarterback. I'd like to see some of these other teams get in, but frankly, I'd like to see the Bills, Broncos, and whatever the other team is. I don't really care, but I'd like to see the Bills and Broncos get in. On the NFC side, we got the Niners as the number 1 seed. The Cowboys are now number 2 at the top of their division. The Lions still atop of their division. Then the Bucks now in the lead in the NFC South. In the wild card spots, we have the Eagles, Vikings, Packers. On the bubble, we have the Rams, Hawks, Falcons, Saints, and wow, I guess technically we still have the Bears, Giants, Commanders, and the Cardinals. The only eliminated teams are the Panthers and Patriots, if this is correct. So this is from NFL.com, so I'm sure it's correct. But yeah, I would like to see the Rams get in over the Vikings. Other than that, I don't really mind. Like, I would like to see the Packers, and I think the Eagles are going to take that spot, of course. So it's really just Vikings, Packers. I'd rather watch the Rams. Seahawks, maybe. Falcons, like you get Bijan. Come on. Uh, I'm done with the Saints at this point. So the only other team I'd like to see get in is the Giants with the true Tommy DeVito love story. But yeah, I think the Rams could easily slide in, and I think the Packers can definitely finish out this season strong enough to get in. So we'll see how things look. All right, Dom says, thank you, Brandon Aubrey. Another great game by him. Down 14 with Derrick Henry. Is there still a chance? Absolutely. I mean, if Henry scores, that's 6 points. So he can make up the rest without anything else. So, yeah, there's still a chance for sure. Up 141 to 121, he has Tyreek Green Bay's defense. Winner gets in the playoffs. So you're up 20. I mean, what is Green Bay's defense like? I don't know. They just worry me. Like, I think they're fine to start this week, but they're the defense 21 in fantasy. So they've hit double digits in week 1 against the Bears, week 9 against the Rams, week 12 against the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. Other than that, they haven't topped 8 fantasy points this season. They're on the road. Luckily, 2 of those double-digit games are on the road. I mean, the Giants' offense is not like super intriguing, but they have something there. I mean, think of it this way: Tyreek Hill has had more than 20 fantasy points in every game this year except for 3. So cross your fingers. It's going to be close. Is Browns D back to top D with Flacco quarterback? Their offense actually moves the ball now somewhat good enough. They're not constantly on the field. I mean, they were never really the top fantasy defense this season. You know, in real life, they were one of the best defenses, but let's see. I mean, they had 13 points today. They get Chicago, Houston, and the Jets. So, I mean, if they're out there, they're worth streaming for sure. But we'll kind of see if they're number 1. Yeah, Steelers falling fast for sure. Davis Mills, I mean, maybe could lead them to the playoffs. I had to watch Joe Flacco masterclass in person today. Nice. Bills are boring. Either Josh Allen or him not throwing to Diggs every play. They use Cook more. They probably be both better and more exciting. I do agree with Should I be worried about CJ Stroud and Nico Collins next week? Yes. If so, should I pick up Love as a backup? Yes. And Sutton or Rasheed Rice to replace Nico? Yes. I would be worried. And Love is a great, replacement for now. And I would just pick up Cortland Sutton. I mean, I like Rasheed Rice a lot, and we've talked plenty about Rasheed Rice early in the year and throughout the year, and I think he's fine to start, but Cortland Sutton has been so incredibly consistent this year that he should be in your lineups and be viewed as a player that you can pick up and plug in and play if you're in a league where he's available. I mean, he gets the Lions, the Patriots, the Chargers. That's good enough. Like, is his ceiling massive? No, but he scored a touchdown in every game this year except for 3. He's not even like on pace for 1,000 receiving yards. It's just ridiculous. He could definitely still do it. He's at 637. And I don't know if that number is updated before this weekend or not, but even then, if it's not, he's still under 700 receiving yards. So he can still do it, but he's not getting these crazy high receiving totals, just getting the touchdowns. But yeah, he's been great. And if you can't get him, Rasheed Rice is perfectly fine as a next option. He's been relied on a little bit more as of late because the Packers have actually the Chiefs have been in these matchups that are forcing them to throw and play from behind a bit. So, I mean, he gets New England, Las Vegas, Cincinnati. Those are all good matchups too. So, but yeah, I would go ahead and try and make those moves. Buy locked in. Should I feel okay about Hurts week 16 at home versus the Giants? Yeah, I'm not going to panic on Hurts. And if anything, the Eagles now fighting potentially to get back to that number 1 seed is a good thing for fantasy, especially against a team like the Giants in week 16. Brees also should be fine as long as Wilson at quarterback. Yep, I agree. Yeah, huge stat line from Drake London today. Should I drop Moss? If you don't need him, you can. You can. Need Detroit to get out of this slump in their domes. I know. How did the Catch Fam redraft leagues go for you this year? Pretty good, but I am in there's way too many scenarios. Way too many scenarios. So I'm gonna lose in League 1, but I think I'm still in the playoffs. Because I think Michael's gonna lose. Sorry, Mike, if you're listening. Yeah, he is gonna lose. So I think I'm secured in the playoffs in that league, but league number 1 was super close. But I might be wrong. Yeah, because me and Michael are 5 and 6, the 5 and 6 teams. But now I need to. Okay, hold on. Let's just take a look. One second. Okay, so yeah. Let's see here. I was on such a good winning streak in this game or in this league too. We've got 1, 2, 3 teams that are 6 and 7, then 2 teams that are 7 and 6. But Made for TV is going to win, so that doesn't matter. I was going to say if he falls to 6 losses, that's big, even though technically he still can. I don't know. This league's going to be so close. So close. Because, yeah, you won, J-Dubs. And then Godfather won. So I don't really feel like adding up the points. But I have a pretty comfortable lead on points. So I think I made it in. I think we're good there. But, yeah, just so many, close. Here's another one where I'm going to beat out Shane. And I think I'm going to sneak on in this league as well. I think I'm good here. So that's 2 leagues. Then, that's league number 1, sorry. I should be good, even though I'm going to take a loss in league number 3. I think I'm going to stay in. Yeah, I should be secured because there's no other teams falling to just 6 losses. So I made it in that league. Then this is league number 4. I don't know if I'm going to make it in. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 6 losses. Dom's going to win more than likely. So he's going to stay at 5 losses. But yeah, it looks like I'm going to end up losing to Pete. Jalen Hurts really hurt me. I mean, I still have Tyreek Hill, so I guess anything's possible. He still has Barkley. I mean, maybe Barkley has an awful game and Tyreek goes crazy. I mean, you never know. So hard to say, but I think I'm still going to make it in this league. So I think I made it in to the playoffs in every Catch Fam redraft tournament league. The Superflex League took a big loss from you, J Dubs, today, mainly because I started Josh Dobbs over Trevor Lawrence. But my team didn't play so well today overall and had left a lot of points on the bench regardless. And I feel like this team is actually quite good, so I really like to make the playoffs. But yeah, right now I'm number 3, but I'm going to drop to 8 and 6. So I mean, the top 6 teams have 6 losses, so I think I'm still in no matter what. So I think we're good there. So I think I made it in just about every league. Here's a league where I was just god awful. I really like this team. Only ended up winning 1 game. Russell Wilson, Alexander Madison, DeAndre Swift, Waddle, Thielen, Garrett Wilson, Tyler Kraft, Kenneth Walker, Josh Dobbs, Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk, Christian Watson. Yes, I have Tavian Wicks and Jalen Hyde on this team. But I mean, Josh Palmer, Tank Dell. This team just had so many injuries. Yeah, tough year. But I really like that team coming out of the draft. Then here's a league where I'm number 1, and I'm taking the victory this week as well. So I feel good there. Here's my home league, which I almost made in the playoffs, but I think I've been eliminated now because I needed this team right here to lose, and they won. So I think I'm out there. The Catch Fam Auction League, I don't know what happened with this team. I really don't. Which DeAndre Swift really hurt me because I was projected to win. And I think there was a path. No, there wasn't a path. I was out no matter what. But I loved this team, man. Fields, Kyron, Monty, Rasheed Rice, Devonta Smith, Kincaid, Swift, Barkley, Goff, Jordan Love, McKinnon, Singletary, Stevenson, Kirk on IR. I don't know what happened with this team. I thought this team was great. I really did. All right, we'll break down the dynasty teams. Too crazy here because there's way too much to go over. But it looks like I made the playoffs in the dynasty leagues in almost every league. But this one I'm going to have to sneak in. Let's actually check. I needed Ethan to lose. He won. But there might be another path with, I don't know, with one of these other teams. Maybe. Or maybe if I outscored him, which I don't think I did. So I think I might be out. But this was, I don't know. No, this was a team that I needed to make the playoffs. This was like a team that was supposed to be a contender. So that might not be good. I might be out there. Then I believe in this league, even with Justin Herbert dying on the field, I think I still will make it in. Yeah, this team should be good because I'll finish with just 4 losses. So there's another entry. And then this team, it didn't really matter to me if I made it in or not. This was like my team that just was young or whatever, and I kept all my draft picks, but I could have made it in if I won today, and I didn't win. But I haven't checked either. Like some of these teams that were 8 and 5, if they lost, I think there's a path for me to get in. So I won't figure it out right now. We'll just leave it. And then obviously this team, if you guys are in this league, yeah, I made it in. This team has been crazy all year. So, but I don't know. The top of the Dynasty League number 1 is really tough. like really tough. Like Speezy, Spencer, me, Steven, and even Tommy and J Dubs. Like, I don't know this, and even like some of the teams a little bit lower. Then we just have a ton of teams tanking. But like, yeah, that's kind of the problem is teams at the top are just absolutely killing it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting when we head into the actual playoffs. So overall, pretty good. I was a little disappointed because there is a path for me to make it in every Catch Fam league this year, um, including like the auction league, even like a couple weeks back. Like the super flex league, I was like number one. A couple of these other leagues, I was like number one or two or three, and then like I took a little streak of losses across the board and a lot of injuries. I mean, a lot of the players that I drafted this year had a lot of exposure to, including guys like Kenneth Walker and Christian Kirk and things like that. So, but these things happen. What are you going to do? So, there's an extensive update for you, J Dubs, on how things went for me this year. But overall, pretty good. I mean, I was in 15 leagues this year, and I think I'm making the playoffs in 8 of them. So, not too bad. And I had the chance to make the playoffs in 11 of them. So, not too bad. All right, Browns defense or Saints defense is upcoming week. Saints get the Giants, Browns, and the Bears. I like the Browns. I like the Browns. I feel like the Saints, and we kind of talked about this, like we're a fine start this week. Um, and they gave you quite a ceiling at 24 points, but I still feel like overall they're more of like a floor play on a week to week basis. But I don't like them against the Rams. I don't really like them at Tampa either. I think that against the Giants is okay, but I'd rather start the Browns. Plan is Denver week 16 at home, Cleveland week 17. I like that. Like that. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy scenarios for a lot of my teams, so I'm just gonna wake up and see what happens Tuesday morning. I don't think none of the 6 and 7 teams can catch up with you in points. Well, that's good. Jerry says he never traded with me again. He probably will. I don't know why I call Kyron Williams Kyron, but I'm never gonna stop. My full PPR league, I've had DJ Moore and Mike Evans and Debo all year. It's frustrating at first, but glad I stuck with them, except for Evans this week. Yeah. Just a bad week, though, Mike Evans. But how can you sit Mike Evans? Like, how? Are these leagues for money? If so, I don't think I can join them, but I'd like to join at least one next year. Yeah. So the Catch Fam League tournament is free. So those first 4 teams or leagues I went over, they're free. We do that every year. And then the like Superflex, Dynasty, auction leagues, those are all like $20 buy-ins, but most of the buy-ins aren't. I don't think we have any leagues more than $20. So I was 0-4 in the Superflex league at the start, turn things around. Yeah, I really like my team in that league, although I have had some injuries now, but I was killing that league at first, but these things happen. Saints defense saving my opponent's team. I'm down 18 from them. That's always defense this time of year, right? Was there any player you're super high on this year that let you down? That's a good question. I don't know. I did really like Christian Watson coming into the season. I mean, most of my guys, so to speak, my guys like turned out pretty good. I mean, DeAndre Swift's been pretty bad lately, but up, throughout the season, he was great. Jalen Waddle is probably the biggest disappointment for me. I mean, I know he's been okay, but I don't know. Waddle has felt like a big disappointment to me. But he's been okay. He's been a little bit inconsistent. Devonta Smith, maybe in that, but Smith has been fine. Um, I'm trying to actually like really look. I was really high on DJ Moore coming into the year, and DJ Moore has had a great season. He's still the wide receiver 10. If there was somebody I was really high on, let me know as well if you guys remember. I feel like there's got to be like at least one that is like a odd. I was really high on Jahan Dotson. I really thought Dotson would be like a super like reliable wide receiver 3 all season long. That obviously did not happen. I mean, I thought Eckler would have a better year, but I don't know. I'm not even like looking at that tier of players. I'm trying to kind of look at like guys in later rounds. I was super high on Amon Ra. He's been great, of course, other than this past week. But I was not very high on Mike Evans. I'll be honest there. He's had a great season, other than this past week. I was not very high on Keenan Allen. He's had a great season too. Other than this past week was okay, but yeah, like I mean, like I feel like DeAndre Swift, Isaiah Pacheco, Rashad White, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore, like those were like my guys, and they were all fine this year. David Montgomery, another guy that I was really high on. Brandon Ayuk, another guy. I was even like towards the end of the offseason, I was really high on Cortland Sutton. So I don't know. I made some decent calls. Um, but yeah, it's I don't know. I mean, I even liked like Brees Hall going into the season. Justin Fields, I don't know if that's probably fair. I was high on Justin Fields for sure, but like when you look at the season and games he's played, it's not like he's been awful. I mean, the both games against Minnesota this year have been bad, but obviously he got hurt in week 6. But I was super high on Devontae Chain. It's like the only person, and I mean he hasn't even been that reliable. So yeah, I don't feel like there is anybody like Pat Fryermuth feels like a good example. Like a player I was drafting on it because I was going like kind of like zero tight end a lot, like Pat Fryermuth and Cole Kmet. Kmet's been fine, but Fryermuth has been a huge disappointment. He ended up on a couple of my teams, but like that's been pretty fixable throughout the season. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but I was really trying to find someone that I was like super high on. And I don't even think like, when you're looking back on a season, you can consider like injuries as part of the equation. I mean, you can, but it's like you're really high on Nick Chubb. Like, what were you supposed to do? Nick Chubb got hurt. So I don't know. I was trying really hard to look for a player, but we'll see. Hope Chig has a breakout game, garbage time. I hope so too. 15 from Chig, 10 from Packers. We'll manifest it. It's going to happen. Can we answer Mahomes? I'd answer Mahomes. He was supposed to be unquestioned QB1, and he just hasn't been. Yeah, but it's not like I was super high. Like, you must draft Patrick Mahomes this year. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you're going to take an elite quarterback early, Mahomes, Allen Hurts is the tier. I was never really like drafting quarterbacks that early this year. I did it in like 1 or 2 leagues. I took like Hurts. But overall, that just wasn't my strategy. So I wasn't even like, yeah, I mean, I'd still agreed that Mahomes is in that tier, but I think just about anyone did. But Higgins, yeah, and I didn't really end up with any exposure to Higgins, but in that tier of wide receivers, I was fine with drafting him. So turned a 117 with a second matchup versus median in my dynasty league into a 2 seed. Glad I traded my pick so I couldn't afford to tank. Nice. Pretty much all the second round guys underperformed. That's fair. That's fair. I want to see if yeah, so Sleeper like just did this where they like erased all the mock drafts for the past year. Because generally speaking, I wanted to pull up like the last mock draft that we did before the season to see, but oh well. CD Nominal are my guys this year. Waller let me down. See, I wasn't high on Waller, but he got hurt. So. Eckler became a pumpkin the moment I went all in and traded for him. It happens. Mike Evans was oversight, definitely a learning opportunity. Yeah, I mean, just a great veteran grab, and like Evans was going like sixth, seventh round. Roll with Javante or Zeke if Jacob's out next week. Yeah, Javante had himself a nice week this past week. Uh, Patriots at home, they get the Chiefs. You could probably start Zeke there. He got involved enough in the pass game. If you want to go Javante, on the other hand, who do the Broncos play? They play the Lions on the road. I'd probably go Zeke. Olave until recently. I think Olave's been fine though. Like I did expect maybe a little bit more out of him. That's fair. But he had that kind of like but he was like he had like two different injuries. And when you look on the season, he's only given you single digits 3 times. But I did expect a bigger year out of him. That's fair. Told plenty of people that Mike Evans was going to be legit this year, but people kept swearing it's Chris Godwin season. See, like I like Godwin more because I felt like Baker was going to be like I don't want to say checking it down, even though I did feel like he was going to do that. It's part of the reason I like Rashad White, but just kind of going for like those safer reads and like shorter passes. But really, it's been the opposite. He's been just slinging it up to Mike Evans. So I was higher on Godwin in full PPR this year. Wasn't expecting Pittman to be good. Yeah, Pittman has been great. Pittman better with Minshew under center. I agree with that. Yeah, and I heard someone compare Pittman to like a young Mike Evans, like just that player that gets like 1,000 receiving yards or so every year, and just no one like really talks about. So, but still a tough comparison because there's a lot of time left, and Evans done it for so long. Biggest disappointment, guys, personally drafted has to be Godwin. Drafted him late in the draft that was a bit more reasonable about Mike Evans. Been disappointed. It's been tough to own. How do you feel about ETN going against Ravens in Week 15? Would you sit him in non-PPR? And non-PPR, I think you can start him. If he's the best RB1 on your team, you can start him. London has been disappointing outside this week. Really like his talent stat line. Just need to understand coach philosophy for sure. Yeah, I liked Drake London, but I didn't end up with a lot of exposure to him outside of like Dynasty. But he's definitely been disappointing. Pollard's a good example. I really thought Pollard was worth taking over other guys, kind of like in that second round area, even like not really like into the first, but like early second round, like looking at running backs, and he definitely has underperformed. Jerry Jeudy is probably another popular answer, though I try to tell people that Sutton was going to be a lot better. Yeah, that was me as well in the offseason. I had a lot more faith in Sutton. I really broke down Sutton's stats from last year a lot as well. And I haven't been on the Jeudy train since he was like, I liked him like coming off of his rookie season, but outside of that, I have not been there with Jerry Jeudy. So I definitely was not there in the offseason. Yeah, I didn't. I kind of faded the Broncos anyways. But where Cortland Sutton was going in drafts, I loved him going into the season. All right, Saints, Ravens, Chiefs for the next 2 weeks. I don't feel very good about this Chiefs defense right now. They're doing like the opposite of what they usually do. They usually aren't good all season long until like week 15. This season, it's been the opposite. They've been good like up until the past 3 weeks. So they get New England, Las Vegas, Cincy. I just don't feel good. I don't know why. So I'd probably just keep the Saints and the Ravens. Can you only keep one? Ravens still hard to part with, but they do get Jacksonville, San Francisco, and Miami. So I don't know if I even like the Ravens. I'd probably just start the Saints if I were you. They get Tommy DeVito, Stafford, Baker, but those last 2 games are on the road. It's tough. There's definitely arguments against all these teams. I'd probably go the Saints, I guess. Kansas City wide receiver has been disappointing. Yeah. But I didn't really like. I mean, I will say I liked Sky Moore going into the season. There's a good example. I drafted a lot of Sky Moore in like the 12th round or whatever. I think he moved up a bit here or a bit further than that. I don't know. I ended up drafting a ton of him, but I liked him a lot. And then other people started to like him. And it wasn't, I mean, there are enough people out there who liked Sky Moore going into the year, but he's been awful. He's been awful. Yeah, Adams. And see, like, for me, like some of these guys like Garrett Wilson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, like, I don't know. I don't really think they don't feel like they've been disappointing, but they don't really feel like bust to me necessarily because their quarterback play got so screwed up. Once again, thought Bateman would be a good stack with Lamar. I was really high on Zay Flowers. I was higher on Zay Flowers than like Jordan Addison or JSN and redraft. So um, I'll take that. But yeah, Bateman just looking like, yeah, Bateman got a lot of you guys. Luckily, I wasn't very hot. I remember I had like a week during mock draft season where I was like, I think I like Bateman this year. And then I came off of it. Never understood why people act like Judy's anything special. Judy's fast but doesn't run routes well enough, which is why Sutton is Russ's favorite target. Man, some of these catches by Cortland Sutton, too, are just crazy. I think the top QBs aren't as imposing as before. They're just healthy this year, sure. I mean, and there's been so many quarterbacks go down, too. It's like, it's just tough, man. Been a really strange season. Julio and Pollard took him in the second, but at least he stayed healthy. So many running backs out. Evans and Goff kill me. Yeah. That's been just the big thing. Once again, it's just like overall, just a tough season in terms of injuries. T-Law and Herbert were big disappointments in Superflex. I think T-Law definitely was. I mean, that might be a good example, too, of a player I was high on going into the year he disappointed. It was Trevor Lawrence. I was super high on Trevor Lawrence. And, yeah, I definitely agree Trevor Lawrence. I mean, going into week 14, he's the QB 13. He'll finish as a top 15 quarterback as long as he stays healthy, probably. But yeah, the ceiling just has not been there until these past couple of weeks. He didn't hit 20 fantasy points until week 11. He's had 20 or more fantasy points every week since. But yeah, Trevor Lawrence been very disappointing. Now, Justin Herbert, I think I might disagree. He's been bad as of late, but he was a top 5 quarterback like leading up to week 12. He had 2 bad games, Kansas City, Jets, both on the road. But other than that, he got you 20 or more fantasy points in every game. And then the last 3 weeks have just been really tough. So, and he was still a top 6 quarterback before this week. But I definitely agree with T-Law. Jerry with the super chat. Thanks, Jerry. What's up, dude? Thoughts on LeBron for the rest of the season? He'll probably be pretty good, would be my guess. I've been slightly paying attention to basketball, but I don't really start paying attention until football ends. I know. And I know you're not even asking serious, but thank you for the super chat, Jerry. Appreciate you, man. What's up, dude? Schultz or Pitts? Probably Pitts. I don't know if Schultz is going to ever be healthy. I would rather start a healthy Schultz. Maybe gets more opportunities with all the receivers on that team going down, but don't read too much into Pitts' performance this past week. Mostert was the biggest surprise this year. Helped me out a ton. I don't have Mostert on a single team. But yeah. Big surprise is probably been Mostert. Drafted him late for my brother in the league as a def back. He's been his most consistent guy. Yeah. I mean, like, in my home league, like Steven's like number 2 overall team or number 1. And like, it's literally just because he drafted C-Mac in the first round and then got Mostert late. Like, those 2 guys have, I mean, the rest of his team is good too, but those 2 guys primarily have carried his team. Yeah, I think I'd still go with a healthy Schultz. between Schultz and Kyle Pitts, but we'll be making less than Otani. I mean, yeah, geez, what a freaking massive contract. And if he could pitch, it would have been a lot more if he's not going to be able to pitch till like 2025. It's like coming here, dropping a few bucks. Appreciate you, Jerry. Truly do. All right, guys. So we hit an hour. I just wanted to hop on, see how things went for you guys today, and see if you guys needed anything going into tomorrow night or next week. But I will be back throughout the week. And yeah, man. Hopefully you guys made it into the playoffs in as many leagues as possible. And if not, there's always next year. But hopefully I was able to help you guys this season. And if you're not in the playoffs, go win that toilet bowl. In all my leagues, like if you're in the toilet bowl, there's still like, you get your deposit money back. So I don't know. Go win the toilet bowl and be active on the waiver wire to hurt the playoff teams. So J-Dubs, thank you for gifting a membership. Went to Ghost Hunter. We Buy Homes, thank you so much for the $3 dono. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the advice, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you asking me fantasy questions. So thank you so much for the super chat. Underdog this week, yes, we need to do some for sure. Lost Herbert today. I have Howell, but should I grab Flacco, Ritter, or Zappy? Flacco. Get Flacco. We're on the Joe Flacco train. I put them in that order. Flacco, Ritter, Zappy. Zappy last. All right, guys. Thank you guys for the fantasy questions. Thank you guys for hanging out and talking some fantasy football tonight. As always, hit the like. If you guys are new to the channel, hope you guys subscribe. Come back for more. Instagram, Discord, all that stuff down below. And that'll do for tonight. Everyone have a great start to your week. And I'll talk to you guys soon. So love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, yes, Odd here on the Catch. And peace.